this weekend when you're watching football, especially the NFL on Sundays, there's things that kind of jump out to you. For me, what jumped out to me was the matchup. It was the Battle of the Beltway, right? It was Baltimore, Washington. And we saw some of the quarterbacks and what Jaden Daniels has been able to do so far this NFL season. It's been, not only has he been the rookie of the year so far, but he's also been in the conversation, or they've dropped his name in the conversation for MVP. But then you think about on the opposite side, he was going up against a two-time MVP in Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, who started the season off 0-2. And everybody said, oh, what is wrong with the Ravens? They lost to the Raiders. How you lose to the Raiders?
That was pretty bad.
You lose 0-2. They lost to the Raiders. And all they've done is won now 4 consecutive games. They take care of business. They find a way to beat up on the Washington Commanders this past weekend. And the one thing I'm looking at, as always, when it comes to closers in a game or just duos, I didn't know I kind of knew how it was going to play out, because I've always said when you lose a game of the magnitude in which the Baltimore Ravens lost, AFC Championship game at home against Kansas City, you had the Chiefs where you wanted them, at your place, and yet you went away from your identity. You went away from what you've been, who you are, running the football, smash mouth, try to make Lamar do something that he's capable of, but yet it's not necessarily the fabric of what I think about the Baltimore Ravens football team. So seeing him throw the ball all over the place and see Zay Flowers, fumble the football, to me, immediately when that game was over, when the Ravens lost the AFC Championship game to the Chiefs, guess what they said? We got to make sure this doesn't happen again. And they went and got Derrick Henry. Now, I know Jerry Jones is seeing this again, and I don't want to bring that up, but sorry, TJ, but Derrick Henry should have been a Dallas Cowboy. That's just what it should have been. He would have been the one thing that I said that the Cowboys would be good at.
But Kirk, I'm going to say this. You've seen the line. We've talked about how bad the line is. Do you think Derrick Henry would be accumulating yards behind that line as it is? I don't think so. I don't think that he would have been getting off like this had he been a Dallas Cowboy.
Can I ask you this? Has the Tennessee Titans ever had the greatest line in football? I mean, have they had a great quarterback in football? We could say Tannehill. What? Everybody knows when you play the Titans, you got to stop Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry, those guys went to a divisional championship? The divisional round of the playoffs. Almost went to a conference championship knowing that the only way that you're going to beat them is if you stop Derrick Henry. They didn't have the greatest offensive line. They had Marcus Mariota, Ryan Tannehill, for God's sakes, and yet they still found a way. I would have loved to seen Derrick Henry with the Dallas Cowboys. I think it would have given some kind of fear. It would make defenders have to say, you know what? We can't play cover 2. We got to stop that guy. And even if you did put 8, 9, 10 men in the box, can you still stop that guy? So with the Ravens picking up Derrick Henry, I'm watching this two-man tango and watching the final sequence of a football game in which the Ravens win 30-23. I saw the challenge that having Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in the same backfield, what it did to Louvu, Wagner, Dan Quinn, the head coach. Everybody's saying, who do we go after? Who do we stop? Who do we bring our blitz to? Where do we put our extra defender? Do you go and try to go all in on Derrick Henry? But then that leaves who? Lamar Jackson. Okay, no. Let's stop Lamar. But then what about Derrick Henry? And that's the way that game was closed. That's a couple weeks in a row we've seen that, where at the end of a game, like the overtime game against Cincinnati, Derrick Henry breaks off the big run and you do up, game over. Same thing yesterday. It's game over when those two guys are in the backfield. They have an identity. The culture's already been set in Baltimore, but now they have an even more of an understanding of the identity. They're going to run the football. Oh, and by the way, they got other guys involved. Obviously, Likely, Andrews, Zay Flowers. I mean, Rashad Bateman even made an appearance. Hey, Rashad Bateman, welcome to Yeah, appreciate it, Rashad Bateman. I mean, everybody got involved when it comes to the Ravens, but when it comes time for the closers, those two guys know how to close it out. And I'm thinking of like a duo like this because we've never seen it. Shout out to Lamar Jackson, by the way, the second all-time leader in rushing at the quarterback position. He surpassed Cam Newton. Here's a little Lamar Jackson talking about surpassing Cam Newton, and now he's just behind Michael Vick.
I mean, it's dope. Not just because, it's Mike Vick, number one, but it's like all the great guys who I'm in great company with, Cam Newton and stuff like that, Steve McNair, like all those great guys who was before me. It's just great to be in discussion with those guys.
Yeah, that's a nice little beanie he got on there. I need one of those. You like those beanies, Del Tufo? I don't know about you in a beanie, but I know you like it. But I ain't never seen Del Tufo in a beanie, but I do like it. I see you trying to step your style game up, Del Tufo. It's all good. But now just 448 yards needed to be the all-time leading rushing quarterback.
Might get that this year.
Yeah. I think we can mark that down. He probably will be the all-time leading rusher as a quarterback in NFL history. Michael Vick sitting in front of him is at 6,109 yards.
But you talk about Derrick Henry. I mean, this is what you had hoped for when you signed the guy. He leads the NFL in rushing by almost 100 yards. He's got 704 in the season. 5.9 yards per carry. Yeah. Obviously, he had that huge 87-yard run a couple weeks ago. 8 touchdowns. Leads the NFL in yards per carry, touchdowns. The ultimate closer, the Mariano Rivera of the NFL right now. Ravens get a lead. You give it to the big fella. That's a wrap. And that's what you had hoped.
Yeah.
When you got the guy, you hoped he had all this left in the tank. Didn't think he'd be this good. But this has been unbelievable. And like you said, playoff game, at home, AFC Championship, you run the ball 6 times with running backs.
Absolutely. You can't do
Inexcusable.
that.
Can't do that. Derrick Henry's going to get 4 times that if the same situation pops up again where you're hosting KC. Maybe you're hosting Houston again. And so this is what you wanted.
Yeah.
Look, and other teams had a chance to get him.
Brock, I'm going to keep it real with you. 100%. Brock, Del Tufo, TJ, I'm going to be real with you. Yep. Playing linebacker in this league, you play on emotion. You play on adrenaline. You going.
How would you know that, Kirk?
I'm just saying. Got me. But playing in this league, like for me, I knew going up against LaDainian Tomlinson, right? Larry Johnson. These are the Ricky Williams. There's dudes that I knew.
Larry Johnson.
Yeah. Trust me, LJ was balling.
Yeah, he was.
This past weekend, I saw CJ 2K, right? He's a scout now in the NFL. Chris Johnson. Was doing some scouting for, I believe, the Senior Bowl. So shout out Jim Nagy, the Senior Bowl. So I saw him. But there were guys for me that when I lined up 5 yards behind my defensive line, I knew I got to bring it every single play. And especially in the beginning of the game, you're like, I got to go. I got to be ready. As the game goes on,
tired.
You start to get a little, there's not a lot left in that tank as you go on. By the fourth quarter, there's a reason why Derrick Henry is getting these yards because business decisions are being had.
Okay,
guys don't have that same energy, and you're seeing what? You don't see nobody trying to rap. Everybody trying to throw a shoulder. You can't throw a shoulder in the fourth quarter with Derrick Henry. You got to put a body on him. Guys don't have it.
You're uniquely qualified to answer that. What is that like as that linebacker when it's the fourth quarter and you're dead tired and you see Larry Johnson and he's coming? Yeah. You hear about this business decision.
Jamal Lewis.
What's that like?
Jamal Lewis.
I'm just saying, these are dudes that are coming downhill. And if you don't stop their feet before they get to the original line of scrimmage, by the time they get to the second level, to you, they're running right through you. Trust me. Ricky Williams ran through my shoulder one time. Almost took, shoulder was gone. The shoulder was exposed. That little high knee took the shoulder out. Shoulder gone.
Word.
And now I'm the business decision of how do I tackle him the rest of the game? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's things that are happening in the game that linebackers and safeties, there's a reason why these plays are happening. There's a reason why Derrick Henry is the closer that he is because nobody wants to tackle that in the fourth quarter. I promise you. I promise you, it's a big difference. So I'm not surprised at the yards he's getting in the fourth quarter, but I think we should start to put a note together of the yards by Derrick Henry with 5 minutes left in the game. I think that may be a stat alone. his yards with 5 minutes or less in the football game, and how many missed tackles go along with that, because everyone knows you're trying to stop the run, but you don't have that same energy. You don't have that same umph, right? When you're trying to tackle a dude who's 250 pounds coming downhill.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.